So we talked about the clock principle. We talked about the reconnaissance principle. We talked about the river principle. Which of those do you want to dive into first?
Let's start with the clock principle because it's a crazy story, dude. So the clock principle teaches and identifies the significance of timing. The right move at the wrong time is the wrong move. This is as true in jiu-jitsu as it is in every aspect of life. So we had a situation where about 10 years ago, I'm teaching 5-10 hours a day. It's full time for me at that time. And I had a student who was a psychologist. And this psychologist student said to me, Henner, I have a patient of hers. She said, Henner, I have a patient who suffers from the most severe case of social anxiety that I've ever dealt with as a doctor. And I think jiu-jitsu would be beneficial for him, but I'm not sure I can get him in here. But if we can, I think it'll change his life. And for this sake of this discussion, we'll call this student, the student's name is Shane. So anyways, I speak to the student's mother and I say, look, let's do this. Bring him in. If you can just get him here, I'll take care of the rest. And she says, Henner, I can drive him there. I just don't know if you can get him in the building. So she pulls up in front of the building. She parks outside of right there near our parking lot. And she says, Henner, I'm sorry, he's out here, but I can't get him in. He's not going to get out of the car. And in my mind, I'm literally thinking at this point, I could cooperate and say, okay, I'm sorry, it didn't work out. When he's ready, let me know. Which means what? I'll never see him again. Or I can go figure this out. And Brad, I've never dealt with this in my life. I've had kids cry in their first class, and then I make a clown and I let them jump on my back and they love me after. Never like this. So I go outside. As I approach the car, the windows are cracked open. He's sitting in the back passenger side seat, and I hear hysterical crying like you've never seen. Like someone in your family has died and you're hyperventilating and crying, heavy breathing. This is what I'm hearing as I'm approaching the car on foot. So the mom is standing outside the car, helpless, like there's no way we're doing this. And I just signaled to her. I said, and she said, yeah, go ahead. So I go around, I get in the back seat. I sit down next to this young man who's about 16 years old, by the way, to give you, he's a high school student. I sit down next to him and he's doing this. He's bending over, crying, and I'm just get in the car. I didn't say a word. 20, 30 minutes had passed. He finally slowed down. Starts sitting up quietly. He's just breathing now. He's not crying. I said, what's up, Shane? I'm Henner. What do you like to do for fun? Video games? I said, cool. Which one? Boom, boom, boom. Random conversation. Another 15, 20 minutes passes. And I said, Shane, here's the deal. I'm really happy to meet you. I'd like to take you inside, give you a tour of our facility. It's really beautiful. I think you'll love it. Just want to show you around. What do you think? Okay. We get out of the car. Mom is standing outside this whole time. We walk together. I'm in my jiu-jitsu gi. He's wearing regular clothes. We walk into the building. I'm walking him around. And Brad, all I'm saying to myself is, if I can get this guy to step on the mat, he's mine. Mm-hmm. We're walking around the building, locker room, museum, grandfather, legacy, beautiful facility, right? You guys all of you are invited. Torrance, California, Gracie University, just something like, you wouldn't expect this to be a martial arts facility. It feels like a country club, Ritz-Carlton type thing, spa. So we walk, we really try hard to make it a unique student experience. So I'm walking this guy around, and then I say, hey, and check this out. We have a private training room. We have 2 private rooms at this old school. I opened it. I pushed the door open. I said, Sean, you really got to check this out. The mats in here are really soft. Come on in so you can feel. He had shoes on. I said, take your shoes off so you can feel how soft the mats are. He steps in. I say to his mom, come on in. I shut the door. They're on the mat with me. I say, have a seat right here, bud. We sit down together. His mom sits in the corner. And by this time, there's enough connection that we're doing okay. And I say, why don't you lay on your back right here, Shane? I get on top of him. He lets me. And then I say, how would you get out? Very conversational. Where there's a relationship now. There's trust. Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. He tries to get out. He's like, oh, I'd push you off. I would do this. I would do that. I said, let me Let me show you. I'd show him the move. Oh, that's cool. He does it. I do it. He does it. I do it. Another hour passes. We do a whole jiu-jitsu class in this room, having the best time, laughing, learning submissions, learning escapes. His mom is in the corner weeping. I just peek over to see. She's over here. We become best friends in there, bro. We had the best time. I leave the class, send him out. Thanks for coming, you guys. Amazing. We'll see you next week. All good. The next time he came to class, it only took me 20 minutes to get him into the building. And then each time after that, less time and less time. Eventually, I handed him off to another instructor. He started doing group classes. He graduated high school, went to college on his own. Life went on for the kid. The right move at the wrong time is the wrong move. The patience to know that I needed to get him on the mat, but it wasn't going to happen on my clock, was the perfect application of the clock principle. Again, a scenario I'd never been faced with, and a solution that I had never crafted before. But what I knew is that if there was love leading the way, if I was leading with love, that I really wanted to help him, and I knew that I was the solution. Jiu-jitsu was the solution to his social anxiety. I knew it. There was no way I wasn't going to figure this out. And in that moment, jiu-jitsu principle that I had applied 1,000 times in a fight, which is wait for the right time. The technique will be there when you need it to be there. The opportunity will present itself. That's what that was. The highest level of patience, the highest level of consideration, and the highest level of trust that ultimately the truth would prevail. He needs jiu-jitsu, and I wouldn't stop at nothing to help him with jiu-jitsu. So those two, if given time, would be successful, and it was, bro. And today, he's a different man because of it. And it all changed because I looked at, when she said, Henner, he's not coming in. I could have said, okay. Or I said, no. New problem. Guess what? New solution. Which solution? I don't even know what the solution is. I just know that jiu-jitsu will guide me. And it worked out. I snuck him on the mat. Hey, come feel these with your shoes off. It was the ultimate. So I was proud of that one.
That's such a cool story, Henner. You know, what it makes me think of is just Tony Robbins talks about something called a pattern interrupt. And with you just sitting down in the car while I'm sure every single time he threw one of these massive fits, of course, everybody was sitting there like fighting it, like, calm down. And you literally just sat there and sat in it with him until he wore himself out. And I'm assuming like that applies perfectly to jiu-jitsu. I mean, because
every day.
Where you've got somebody that's a big, strong dude, just fully flexed, and you're sitting there just kind of riding it out until that opening appears, which is essentially what you did in that situation.
Yeah, and here's what it is, Brad, is that you're absolutely right about jiu-jitsu, is that the reality in this moment right now, let's call it this present reality, let's say I can't escape from underneath you. 30 seconds later, you're changing your behavior. I'm changing my behavior. You're changing your priorities. There is no consistent repetition of the present moment. It's always, every shift in a fight is a new moment, is a new encounter, is a new engagement. So I just trusted that, it's not ideal right now, but that doesn't mean the ideal opportunity won't arrive. I had faith. And so many people in that same situation go, well, if it's not perfect right now, there's no reason for me to believe it'll be any different 10, 20, 30 minutes from now. But jiu-jitsu has taught me absolutely the opposite. If it's not the current circumstances that you need and want right now, just let time do its thing. Sometimes time is the only ally that you need, and enough passing time, the exact same, right? So when you think about the business application of this, right, you might think you have the product, a service that you want to bring to market. If it's not the right time right now, doesn't mean there's something wrong with the product. It means it's wrong with the market opportunity. So maybe it's just a matter of waiting it out, or sometimes speeding it up. You have to rush the attack because you know that the less than desirable time will be 6 months from now. So you rush it right now before the economic downturn that you know is pending. So you launch earlier than you expected. So timing is everything. And the clock principle and many others actually of the 32 principles lean on this idea that, man, just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it won't be.